Hey, cue the music. Let's go. I'm your boy Ro, OG member of the Orange Bowl Boys. And welcome to a new edition of Student of the Game Post Student of the Game Notes. I just wanted to do an unscripted, unedited, just hear my take about what I saw after I did the review. I'm going to do this on my channel. If you don't know, okay, the full Student of the Game featuring Miami, Florida State, and every team subsequently, is going to be on the Orange Bowl Boys channel. So subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like, whatever you need to do. Don't miss it. Let's learn together. But so some of my post-student of the game notes. Okay, first of all, I think the running was intentional this week. Okay, the running the ball, especially prerogative, it seems like we run the ball so much in the middle of the field, bro. Well, that's the quickest point from point A to point B, right? And when you can go ahead and maintain and own that A gap and B gap, I just think it's super impressive. And a lot of the RPOs that I felt like Cam Ward was like hitting on the pass, now he was just intentionally giving it to the running back and feeding the running back and feeding the running back. So I thought that was more game plan specific. Yeah, there were some things that Florida State's going to do, and we're going to cover on that, but it was like game plan specific. Listen, Miami Hurricane fans, we have had such a historic bad situation winning football games late in the season, right? And I think you could go over and look at the Dolphins too, right? They had that fun offense, but later on in the season, you need to be able to have a running game that travels in all weathers. Like, listen, there's a playoff prerogative now in college football, more expansive than ever. There is a chance that you're going to play some places where you're going to have to bring your run game, and it's going to have to travel. So University of Miami did a wonderful job on the ground game. I thought it was intentional, and when you looked at it from the perspective of, okay, this is an NFL-style game, I thought the Miami handedly whooped the Florida State Seminoles. So I think it was a game plan coming in. I really, really do. Now, FSU did have some creative calls on the back end. There were some calls. One I recall specifically. They take Xavier Restrepo. They basically bracket him outside and inside. So there was some things that they did that kind of throttled us down. By all intents and purposes, I do not want to take anything away from that. You're going to have calls on the other side where they're just going to win. And there was a couple times that they did win. Cam Ward, he didn't have a throwing touchdown and didn't really get to say bang on that side of it, right? No passing touchdowns, but he still has some wow moments on film. His release is lightning quick. Somebody I follow online, Dan Casey, tremendous follow as far as like X's and O's and stuff like that. He's like, Cam Ward has one of the quickest releases he's ever seen. I'm like, yeah, I know, right? The guy just gets it out there. That play where he's kind of like escaping the pocket once again, they kind of like hamper things down. He's just able to make plays. He's a bailout boss. I coined that term because of him. He can bail you out of big plays or bad plays, should I say, and that's it. Defense. Okay. So defensively, they didn't have the stiffest challenge against Florida State. Like, listen, I was very impressed with Louisville's offense. Just absolutely just exquisite. It's a handful. It's given Lance Guidry problems 2 weeks in a row. So you kind of see how they're attacking you with motion and this. Florida State's not trying to attack you that way. So didn't have the stiffest challenge, but where Miami did really good defensively, and you could see it on film. They just got more hats to the ball. They were able to tackle well. So it was a phenomenal job there. Defense definitely gets some stripes back based on their performance. What's there? One thing I found interesting, too, it was a fourth down play. They had number 1 Maui Noah, middle linebacker. He was out, and you could see this on the student of the game, and it was just noteworthy, and I just want to talk about it. They put him one-on-one on the outside versus the X position. Now, I believe it was going to be a tight end. It wasn't a wide receiver with no safety help. Florida State was astute to take that matchup. Louisville, I think, victimized it the week before. They were trying to get him on space on a much speedier kind of counterpart. Did a good job. Just noteworthy for me. Now, one thing to cover, and we're just randomly covering topics, and that's kind of how my brain operates on student of the game. So I just wanted to – Miami did give up 4 sacks. We got 3 sacks on the defensive side of the ball. However, we got 4 sacks on the game. I looked at those 4 sacks. I have 2 of them on Cam Ward, loosely, 1 for sure, and 1 loosely. The other 2, we kind of get beat. I'm not wholesale panicking. Somebody reached out to me online. They're like, hey, Ro, just if you're looking at your PFF grades, yeah, okay, the pass grade's going to drop this week, but your rush game, your rush grade should certainly jump through the roof. I mean, you basically had Damian Martinez, who, my goodness, run strong. Earlier in the year, had some questions, had some concerns, but as it's getting late in the year, one of the byproducts of having Mark Fletcher healthy this year is, you got a lot of tread on Martinez's tire, and he's running hard. He is running hard. You could think of some of the runs he had. He broke through numerous tackles for a touchdown last week against Louisville, and then he had that scrum, and he just pops it for like a 40-plus yard run. He is running as advertised, and I think it fits in line with the DNA of Mario Cristobal. Mario Cristobal loves that sort of thing. So there you go. He's just running angry. But back to the 4 sacks that we given up, and we were talking about the PFF grades and on the pass pro side of it. Like I said, I'm not overly concerned. This has been a really, really good unit for the University of Miami in terms of pass pro. They got victimized on a 0 blitz by Florida State. They just didn't get the call right. I have that on the quarterback. It's like you got to be responsible. If they got 7 guys in the line of scrimmage and you only have 6 to block, that 7th is always going to be on the quarterback. The quarterback either needs to check out of it. He needs to either move a running back over. So that's going to be him. And then we got victimized on an empty where I felt like we were holding the ball a little bit too long. One time you just got to tip your cap. Defensive tackle just makes a nice little move there. So I'm not ultimately concerned moving forward. I think the University of Miami can clean that up. And you got to remember, I've been doing the student of the game. I did it in the Dan Enos years when we were like, third last, second last in the country in sacks allowed. So I've seen them all shapes and sizes. It's been a relatively really good unit in terms of pass pro. Offensive line definitely showed up. And that's it. I'm going to be honest, too. Part of my student of the game notes on X, I mean, when I was at my daughter's volleyball game, so my eyes were watching her, but my ears were listening to the actual play. I was listening to it on 560. And Fletcher scored, and that was tear-worthy. I'm happy for him. That was an emotional moment. Tried to capture that on the student of the game this week. Prayers to you, young man. That's tough. FSU's defense, or FSU and play in general, this is not a overly well-coached team. I say that nicely. I mean, they do things well. I'm not going to sit there and say that, but there's some funny things that they do on film. Watched them in their preview earlier in the week, and then I turn around and I just saw a play where a guy comes in motion, and they're sending him in and out motion, and I highlight this on the student of the game, and he literally gets bodied, right, by his right tackle. I'm like, who designed this play? Because, did anybody not realize when live bullets are flying, your right tackle is going to actually step back? So it blew up a 4th down play on them, and it was just an embarrassing look for them. Listen, I'm going to give them credit, though. Their defense wasn't bad. Defensive backs were super, uber physical versus us, getting our hands on us, making things a little bit difficult. They were fine being aggressive. That's kind of their DNA. Not a bad defense at all. We got their second highest point total against them. The only one who did that was SMU, and I do believe SMU had a pick 6. So we might have scored equally the amount that their defense has given up because we didn't have any pick 6 aiding us. And I'm going to end it with this. I mean, this is a Mario calling card. I know some of the reactions and looking about this online, I could see it, that we wanted a 50 burger, we wanted a 40 burger, but this was a whooping. This was an in-tier whooping. And that's what FSU's defense wasn't bad, but I felt Miami was the more physical team. Miami was able to run them out of our building, not the building, our building late. Okay? And it was impressive. And I think you're going to need to rely on that moving in the future. Having the ability to do that is so important. So it's very hard to win in college football, and you got to be able to win in different ways. And when you have a balanced offense, you don't have to rely on your Heisman quarterback all the time. So great job there. As always, Canes fans, Thank you for following along. Once again, go over to the Orange Bowl Boys channel. Subscribe to Student of the Game there. We have watch-alongs now. We're trying to get very active, and follow us on all your podcast platforms. And as always, stay safe out there.